I call the member for Willoughby.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm proud to represent a large, passionate and deeply engaged Armenian Australian community across Willoughby. For the past 3 years, they've been advocating for the release of Armenian hostages detained by Azerbaijan. As this House has recognised, through several motions between 2023, the Republic of Artsakh, a democratic Armenian populated territory, was subjected to military aggression, blockade and ultimately ethnic cleansing by Azerbaijan. That campaign culminated in September 23, when more than 100,000 Armenians were forced to flee their ancestral homeland in a matter of days following a lightning military offensive. At the time, I was co-leading a delegation over there and watched helplessly as thousands fled a land that their ancestors had inhabited for millennia. Amid the panic of that exodus, another operation was unfolding. Azerbaijani authorities launched a coordinated effort to capture the political and military leadership of Artsakh. By the end of September, 8 former elected leaders, together with other civilian and military officials, had been arrested and taken to Azerbaijan, where they were charged with terrorism and other serious offences. This raises a fundamental question. How can democratically elected leaders be prosecuted simply for carrying out the responsibilities entrusted to them by their constituents, namely defending their community and exercising what they believed to be their people's right to self-determination? That question alone should have prompted widespread international condemnation. Instead, for the most part, the response has been silence. Beyond the profound moral injustice lies another serious concern: whether these trials have met even the most basic standards of due process. In only May of this year, the International Commission of Jurists released a comprehensive assessment of Azerbaijan's judicial system, and its findings regarding these proceedings were deeply troubling. The Commission identified serious concerns, including defendants being denied effective access to legal counsel of their choosing, case materials being withheld or provided in languages they could not understand, defence motions being dismissed without explanation or omitted from the official record, inadequate or absent interpretation, and public access, including for accredited diplomatic representatives, being denied. These are not minor procedural shortcomings. They strike at the very foundations of a fair trial and justice. Earlier this year, after years of opaque proceedings, several hostages were sentenced to life imprisonment. Those sentences compel us to ask another question: what will the rest of their lives look like? In 2024, I had the opportunity to meet Mr Alexander Lapshin, a former political prisoner in Azerbaijan, here in the New South Wales Parliament. Mr Lapshin, a Russian-Israeli travel blogger, visited Artsakh in 2011. 5 years later, he was arrested in Belarus, extradited to Azerbaijan and sentenced to 3 years imprisonment, not for committing violence, but for simply entering Artsakh without Azerbaijan's permission. He described surviving on what he called brown slop for meals, spending 23 hours each day in a tiny windowless cell under constant artificial light, while enduring routine verbal abuse from prison guards. After 4 months, masked security officers entered his cell and brutally assaulted him. The Azerbaijani authorities described that incident as an attempted suicide. The European Court of Human Rights concluded it amounted to torture and an attempted murder. Only sustained international pressure secured his release. If this is how Azerbaijan treated someone whose only crime was visiting Artsakh, one must ask, how are they treating those who led and defended it? That question becomes even more concerning when viewed against Azerbaijan's documented record of war crimes during the conflict and long-standing evidence of state-sponsored anti-Armenian hatred. The truth is that we simply do not know what conditions these hostages are enduring. Their families have been denied access, their chosen legal representatives have been denied access, and regular independent oversight has been gravely diminished following the closure of the International Committee of the Red Cross's delegation in Azerbaijan, the only independent humanitarian body that had been able to visit conflict-related detainees. On 29 June 2026, many of these hostages will mark 1,000 days in detention. 1,000 days separated from their families, 1,000 days without genuine due process, 1,000 days too many. This milestone represents not only a tragedy for those imprisoned, but also a failure of the international community to prevent Azerbaijan from acting with impunity. As a member of the Australian Friends of Artsakh Network and as the protection sponsor of one of these hostages, Mr Levon Artsakh-Armenian, I am deeply disappointed by Australia's response. Even more concerning is that Australia is falling behind many of our democratic partners. The European Parliament, the World Council of Churches and President Donald Trump have all publicly called for the immediate release of these hostages. Meanwhile, Australia's Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs have essentially remained silent. Today, I urge our government to change that. Australia should publicly and unequivocally call for the immediate and unconditional release of all Armenian hostages detained by Azerbaijan. and it should use every appropriate diplomatic avenue available to help secure their freedom. Silence serves only the jailer. Australia should stand firmly on the side of justice, human rights and the rule of law. 1,000 days is too many.
I call